The masculinity crisis in the world is a very complicated issue. And yes, the issue of porn and the worship of women is one of the most important core issues in this matter, but it doesn't make it the entire reason. First off, I'm going to start by painting a picture of the modern man. Life sucks and then you die, is the motto for the modern man. Same thing with shit like, the only guarantees in life are death and taxes. With these core beliefs in our hypothetical man, let's name him Jordan. What are his plans for the future and for life in general? Jordan went to elementary school on time every day and paid special attention to his grades in history before moving on to middle and eventually high school, where he did the exact same thing. Of course, one core thing changed when Jordan got to the end of elementary school. His penis started getting hard, and after a few fits to his mom or his effeminate father about how there's something wrong with him, found out that his dick is hard because it wants to be inside a vagina. Thus, after a few awkward sex education classes with all of his immature classmates laughing at a banana, he found out that the way to stop his third arm from flexing its muscles all day in his pants is to talk to a girl. After a few rejections and laughs in middle school, Jordan finally worked up the courage to try it again in high school with his cute tablemate in math class. She was a little hesitant at first, but said yes to the offer to go to the movies with Jordan. After staring at a screen with the subtle flame of sexual tension in the dark of the theater for an hour, Jordan landed his first kiss. Very excited he was, and so was his new friend in his pants. Jordan left the theater with his new girlfriend, parting ways with a hug and an awkward walk away from each other and towards their parents' cars. After about 4 years of missionary sex and unnecessary stress about grades, Jordan suddenly found himself deciding which college to go to. A hard breakup accompanied him towards the end of his last year, but it didn't matter because after all, those 4 years of listening to liberal propaganda in his honors English class and studying algebra like it was quantum mechanics was finally about to pay off. His father being the professional cubicle worker that he is, told him so at least. Maybe Jordan will find a pediatrician wife who is the main breadwinner of the household just like he did. Jordan was so hurt by his first breakup that he decided to apply to a college on the other side of the country. After being accepted, he buys a little weed from that kid he always thought was a loser from his gym class. A few hours of giggling nonsense went on and Jordan suddenly felt a little different about his elementary schools, not even once bullshit, and decided this was going to be something he would do with his free time. After all, it made studying easier and more fun, along with watching porn too. Watching porn was something Jordan has been doing since the 5th grade, and what used to be an extremely exciting thrill of rule breaking and secrets slowly turned into a monotonous chore that he would have to do when his girlfriend wouldn't respond to his texts. No worries though, Jordan found a new girlfriend and her name is Mary Jane. And Mary Jane doesn't get jealous when he watches porn. In fact, she'll spend time with Jordan while he does it. The acceptance letter for the University of Pennsylvania came in. Getting baked is pretty fun. Life is great for Jordan. 5 months later flies by along with a few happy photos of gowns and diplomas, and now Jordan is in his college dorm with his mildly annoying but overall pretty cool roommate studying English. Jordan is regularly reminded of his time in grade school when he can't talk to any girls, but ultimately brushes it off at the end of the day. It's easy to forget about not approaching Emma in that one lecture room when Lana Rhodes is keeping you company at the end of every night. After all, those dumb jocks who like lifting weights and starting their own personal training businesses won't graduate with a master's in English like Jordan. It will all be worth it in the end. Fuck self-care, Jordan wants a career. Preferably one that doesn't step on the toes of the intellectual geniuses of the world, who are 100% unsuccessful because the man doesn't like the color of their skin, or the way they talk. Can you blame a young man for clinging onto the one and only ambitious pursuit he has in his life? His purpose in life is to care for and help other people. After all, that's what the saint-like females he hung around in high school would say. Those girls were his best friends. They always laughed about how they could never do anything about their imminent oppression because of some external force. Who cares if you don't have a father in the house to blame for all of your problems? You have the latest politician or college professor who challenges your psychotic beliefs to scream at. Jordan's mom and dad were always so happy. All Jordan needs to do is get through this experience with a degree and he'll marry that pediatrician. Jordan likes to use his first credit card to buy 4 dime bags a week so he can study more efficiently. The whole country is in debt, and they don't care, so why should Jordan care? This was a regular joke his father would make in the household when mom would scream at him for not helping pay the credit card bill. She spent a lot of time leaving the house in that little black dress she used to wear for Dad's birthday. Mom loved to spend time with her girlfriends. The college money Jordan's mom saved for him his whole life is starting to run out, so Jordan takes out a few student loans. No second thought needed, when Jordan is an English professor he'll pay off all of his debt with his six-figure income. Memorizing the names of several different porn stars like a football ultra gets exhausting. Jordan's roommate Cody has a girlfriend. Sure, they fight all the time and Cody texts her a lot with not many texts back, but they're in love. Thus Cody has no trouble bringing Victoria into their dorm every night. They usually just fuck and go to bed anyways, no big deal. When Jordan wakes up, Victoria is never there in the morning. Who cares? Time to smoke weed and partake in the morning jerk sesh. When Jordan nuts and then leaves the bathroom to see Cody constantly texting Victoria, he's reminded of his high school girlfriend. Jordan leaves for class and downloads Tinder in the middle of a long lecture. A 5'11" dude with a Toyota going after becoming an English teacher in Pennsylvania will have no problem getting some matches on Tinder. After a few weeks of radio silence and a couple of new dirty website subscriptions, Jordan finally got a match on Tinder. Beth, a thick blonde girl who currently works as a barista. What a cute full-body costume of tattoos she has. Jordan loves the thick section on Pornhub. Why wouldn't he go on a date with her? Date after date and one late-night text after another, Jordan was finally getting somewhat consistent pussy again. They had extra dry missionary sex the night Jordan graduated from college with a master's in English. Jordan was very happy because he knew he had a bright future ahead of him. Smoking weed and jerking off along with participating in the local BLM protests for 4 years would finally pay off. He knew finding a job at a university would take a while, so he settled for a part-time job at Office Depot. When Jordan pooled his abundance of resources with Beth's Starbucks salary, they had enough money to get an apartment together. They both still have help from their parents and their credit card companies, so while Jordan is trying to get a job as a professor, all of their bills will be taken care of. Having a live-in girlfriend is something Jordan has never done before, but he figured it would be the same as living with his mom again. Which was great because of the total absence of responsibility. It's really cool that Beth's OnlyFans income pays most of the electrical bill. She's so strong and independent. 6 months pass and the young couple have to renew their lease for their $1,800 a month apartment. When Jordan finishes up his long phone call with his dad about needing money, Beth approaches Jordan with a blue striped pee stick. Jordan decides to start doing full-time at Office Depot. After all, Beth will be taking some well-deserved time off from her Starbucks job. Jordan ignores his increasingly intimidating pile of debt like the strings of hair in his palms every time he shampoos. Beth is getting rather grouchy lately, so Jordan thinks he'll buy a fleshlight. He's always wanted one of those. Jordan looks in the mirror one day after a big fat rejection letter from the university he was trying to get a job at, to find that 30 years have passed. Jordan isn't a big fan of the balding look and skinny fat body, but he gets by with his high school English teacher salary. So who cares? Beth left to live with her mother 10 years ago, so Jordan only has to worry about $1,200 a month for a studio apartment. Plus he gets to see the little rugrat every Saturday. Life is good. Jordan has learned to not check up on his credit card debt anymore in favor for tuning into the latest press conferences about marijuana legalization. Life is simpler this way. One day Jordan sees a new friend request on his Facebook page. He opens it to see that it's Cody from college, and accepts it immediately. Texting back and forth about how shitty Trump is with Cody eventually led to an agreement to meet at the Starbucks Beth used to work at. Jordan likes to go there to reminisce sometimes. Plus if Beth is there, she will see him with his old friend. Maybe she will think he is doing something interesting with his life like he always promised her when they first had Adrian. Cody was always very into the topic of entrepreneurship after all. Jordan always felt cool when hanging around Cody. Jordan bought a new leather jacket from JCPenney and drove his leased Honda Element to the Starbucks. Jordan walked in there with a confident spring in his step because of his new fake image of mild success. He turned his head to see Cody sitting in one of the corner tables. It took Jordan a second to realize it was him, since he gained a considerable amount of weight since college. Jordan approached Cody with a handshake, only to have it interrupted by a hug from Cody. The stink of a 3-week-old Marvel t-shirt filled Jordan's nostrils. After sitting down and ordering 2 caramel mocha lattes, the two old friends started talking. Jordan saw a faint cum stain on Cody's cargo pants but ignored it. It was pretty gross and large, and a couple of cute girls walking by noticed it too, but Jordan ultimately decided to just keep talking. Cody was excited to see his old friend from college at first, but his enthusiasm slowly died after telling Jordan about his life. Long story short, Victoria cheated on him with some guy who started his own car detailing business. Not long after graduating with a degree in musical theater, Cody found a job at Jiffy Lube. Jordan ignored the obvious jealousy Cody had for his college girlfriend's new boyfriend. After all, Cody couldn't stop talking about how he was trying to start a car detailing business of his own. Cody had red in his eyes from crying. He told Jordan that he was trying to become an actor. But his job at Jiffy Lube is going great so far. The two friends finished their coffee and parted ways. Jordan promised Cody to help him in his car detailing business with a shaky lack of eye contact and little volume to his words. The two friends never saw each other again. Jordan started walking to his car before looking across the street to see a slick black McLaren. The top was down so Jordan could see who was inside. With a pretty 110-pound Asian girl in the passenger seat and Ray-Bans on his face sat Chris. Jordan didn't know Chris, but he knew Chris was really into weightlifting. He would always hear the thud of his weights from his home gym in the apartment above him when he still lived with Beth. Jordan always thought Chris was a loser because he was going to a local trade school to become an electrician and not going to a university. Chris moved out of his studio apartment not long after Adrian was born. Shortly after finishing up his nightly masturbation session, Jordan decided to look up Chris on Facebook. Apparently, after working as an electrician in New York for some time, Chris started his own electrician contracting business in Manhattan. While at the same time flipping houses, Chris had a baby boy with his wife that he was now sending to the same school Jordan went to in order to study neuroscience. Chris looked 32 at 55 years old. Jordan lived the rest of his life thinking luck is what makes people successful. After all, Jordan always felt like he was smarter than Chris. The only reason Jordan wasn't driving that McLaren was because of dumb luck. After his parents divorced, Jordan moved back into the house with his mother. She kicked his father out to go live with his guitar player friend from high school, but wished him well on the new book he was writing. Dad never had any success as a novelist, but that didn't stop him from doing nothing else with his time. Jordan lives with mom and has over $250,000 in debt, both college debt and credit card debt. He rants on his YouTube channel about how females are always going to hurt you, and he finds it hard to listen to his porn videos at the volume he listened to them when he could still afford to live in an apartment. Now that his mom was in the next room, of course. Jordan decided to quit his job teaching to pursue YouTube full-time. Jordan's mom always asks him about when he is going to get back on his feet. Which is understandable, since she still wants to find love after her divorce. It doesn't matter though, her brain is slowly turning to mush as she approaches 70. Soon Jordan will be a homeowner, that is if his mother leaves the house to him in her will, of course. Until then, getting stoned and watching porn while pursuing YouTube will cut it for now. Jordan labels himself as a successful 52-year-old man. His future is looking bright. Women don't want to date him, but that's okay, because all women are sluts anyway. So, what happened with Jordan? See, Jordan was conditioned into blue pill beta male thinking. He believed in love and soulmates. He believes there is nothing wrong with excessive pornography and marijuana use. Thus he never grew out of being a child. Was it because of his father? Yes. Was it because of the education system? Yes. Was it because of his consumption of a certain type of mainstream media telling him the big bad misogynists are out to get these wonderful females and need to be stopped? Yes. Was it because of his excessive red pill-aware masturbation? Hatefully watching content about hypergamy and feminism? Yes. You can still be a Jordan and consume red pill content, but it doesn't solve all of your issues. If you think it will. I am ashamed to tell you that you have a long way to go. At least that's my rather optimistic view on the subject. Jordan knew that he wasn't free, but never really looked at the chains that bind him. When he found the red pill, he thought he found the key, when in reality all that he did was find a blindfold. Maybe Jordan found out that Beth was a massive slut and Victoria was cheating on Cody the whole time they were together. Maybe he watched a lot of feminist cringe compilation videos when he was younger, but that still never did anything for him. Realizing that almost everything you have done in your life as a Jordan was a cruel spiral of uselessness, and thus making your remaining years better, is all that you can do. Stop complicating things.